All right, it's day 32 of Muscle Music. This is a series in which I pick an album from this filter, I work out to it, and I give it a review. And I only do albums I've never listened to before. Actually, Dusty in Memphis was the first episode I ever did, so interesting enough. It was okay, a pretty decent album. Beyonce's Lemonade, let's do it. All right, we're back from the gym. We did our poll day today, so here are my thoughts on Beyonce's Lemonade. So I just did Beyonce's self-titled album, which came out in 2014. This one came out in 2016, I believe. And a lot of it is very personal to Beyonce because it talks about the infidelity and the cheating of her husband, Jay-Z, at the time, which was a huge scandal and drama, obviously. I remember mentioning in my first original Beyonce video that that was like one of her most personal and raw albums. This one is even way more personal and way more raw, just getting so many feelings out that the public didn't even know about. And I think in doing so, in this kind of airing out of dirty laundry in a musical sense, she explores and discovers a whole lot of musical trends and styles that I think just work perfectly for her. She does so much like musical exploration, so many different genre flips. I mean, you've got reggae, rock, country, gospel, obviously R&B, rock, rap, trap, all these kind of influences just come together on this album. And I think they, for the most part, like work very well together. But in my opinion, what really makes this album is the lyricism. She just goes through all these deep, emotional, heartbroken, grief-filled lyrics, trying to understand what happened, trying to, you know, maybe see if it was her fault or how she can overcome these feelings. And in doing so, kind of the title of the album, Lemonade, makes a bit more sense. I think it was after the track Freedom with Kendrick Lamar where she includes a little snippet of a spoken word piece from, I don't know who it is, I'll look it up later, but talking about how she overcame so much, grief and all these hardships and how she turned lemons that she received and made them into lemonade. Even in the track Sorry, she calls out Becky with the good hair, which was kind of a meme running at the time. I remember that. Kind of hinting at maybe the person that Jay-Z slept with or cheated on Beyonce with. Also in the track Formation, I remember another meme talking about how she has hot sauce in her bag, kind of talking about her generational roots and where she comes from the deeper South. So it makes a little bit more sense and kind of a play on words. Again, that's just a couple examples of more notable lyricism through the album, but for the most part, just front to back, just banger lyrics. I also think it's really interesting how she did the Formation track, how she released that in the beginning of 2016. And then she did the Super Bowl halftime show, if you remember that, in February of 2016. So she was going through all this really tough troubles through her life at that point. And then while she's struggling really hard, she's doing the Super Bowl halftime show. Like no one has the life of Beyonce. It's insane. There's also an accompanying short film released with this album as well. I believe she also did that for her self-titled album in 2016. But this one just received so many different awards, so many accolades. I believe each track represents a chapter in the film, if that's what I read correctly. So great on her. I also really want to see this one too, so maybe I'll do that after this. But again, to go back to the music on the album, I just think it's so interesting how different kind of genres are infused into this album. I mean, obviously art pop and R&B are the main draw and the main sound throughout the majority of this album. But there's like the track Don't Hurt Yourself featuring Jack White, where they incorporate a lot more guitars, and it sounds like a pretty great rock song that I think Jack White would have sounded great over on the White Stripes with. But when Beyonce does it, it's just so great. Her voice is amazing. Obviously, you take that for granted a little bit on this album, but it just sounds so great. These different styles with her voice inflections over it. It's really interesting. And I think the same thing fits for the track Daddy Lessons as well, where it's instead of a rock sound, she's doing more of a country sound, and it's more of an upbeat kind of like stomp clap country song, if that makes a bit more sense. But it's just so strange to hear her voice over this country style production, and it works really well. Like, it's insane how that works. I don't get it. You even have her fitting over like gospel and folk influences on the track Freedom with Kendrick Lamar, which is one of my favorite tracks. Obviously, I'm a big Kendrick stan, so I'm going to lean more towards that sound. But Beyonce's inclusions and the production on it are just incredible. Like every single element of this album is like working in tandem with one another, even though they're completely different. I mean, there were just a couple like mid tracks, like songs that I wasn't really head over heels about. But there's really not too much to complain about. The only track that I just really did not like at all was the track Hold Up, which is mainly because of the production. It just sounds like a YouTube kids song, like some YouTuber who makes, you know, like kid related content where like kind of like ukulele-esque sounds, but they just kind of like upped it a little bit. They put like some like horns on it and then just added like more trappin' style influence beats. So that, but again, the lyrics of that album are insane. Like she just really goes over a lot of deep seated issues that she has with her relationship over this really bad track. Like production wise, it was not good, but her lyrics just really saved it. So again, not too much to complain about for this. She even works in a piano ballad in the middle of the album with the track Sandcastles, which I think speaks so much onto what her relationship was, you know. It was like her and Jay-Z were making sandcastles out of their love, and then the tide came in with him cheating and it washed everything away. So again, just very, very great lyricism. But yeah, overall, this is probably my favorite Beyonce album. It's not the most commercial friendly, and I think she had to get to a point in her career where she could release an album like this because she has so much pop credibility in her past, and obviously she has such a rabid fan base that she can put out whatever she wants at this point. And I think this is such a really interesting switch in her artistic career that it really, like, critically is acclaimed for a reason, and I would have to agree. But yeah, my favorite tracks have to go to Don't Hurt Yourself with Jack White, Daddy Lessons, Sandcastles, Freedom with Kendrick Lamar, that was a great one, as well as Forward with James Blake. I think that track is a little underrated, but I love James Blake. I love his sound and his style that he incorporates with this, and Beyonce and him work well together. So while this album may not be a perfect 10 out of 10 for me, I think it is one of the best Beyonce albums and definitely a high point in her career. In terms of a rating, I'm probably going to have to give it like a mid-8, like a mid to strong 8 right there, yeah. Like and follow for more unless this app gets banned. Goodbye.